Good morning, everybody. Today we're going to take a look at some parrots. Hello, everybody. Today we're going to take a look at 14 California native plants that have been thriving at the California Conservation Corps Garden in Pomona. But first, I'm going to show you my favorite resource for learning about California native plants.
This is Calscape, a resource created by the California Native Plant Society. It has information on just about every native plant in California. Some of the plants in our garden aren't in bloom quite yet, so today I'm also showing a few flower photos from Calscape. Fragrant pitcher sage is one of my favorite scents in the garden. While you might think this is a sage plant, it actually isn't. It isn't in the sage genus Salvia. Instead, it belongs to the mint family Leymus. And look at these gorgeous, abundant flowers that appear every spring. Toyon, sometimes called California holly, is widely believed to be the plant that Hollywood was named after. During winter, this plant is covered with bright red berries that are a favorite food for many of our bird species. I always plant white sage in my gardens. Sacred to indigenous peoples throughout California, this plant has long been used as a powerful medicine. A single fresh leaf can be added to cool or cold water for a grounding drink. Just don't boil the water. Check the description for a link to the book Healing with Medicinal Plants of the West by Dr. James Adams, which talks about this plant and many others like it. Deilamina verbena must be one of my favorite California flowers. These fragrant blooms bring native gardens to life in early spring. Deer-resistant, drought-tolerant, and tough, this plant also attracts plenty of pollinators. This coast live oak is actually the one plant we didn't plant here. It's been in this garden a long time. Coast live oaks are considered a keystone species in our area and help support hundreds of different organisms, massively boosting biodiversity anywhere they grow. The California wild rose might not be as showy as our hybrid roses, but it forms dense foliage that supports many native organisms. These delicate blooms eventually turn into rose hips, an important food source for wildlife. And yes, they're edible for humans too, and loaded with vitamin C. Giant Wildrye is a huge California native grass. This one was cut back at the end of winter and is just starting to grow again, but last fall it stood close to 10 feet tall. Plants like this create habitat for wildlife, and the tall stalks make a calm, soothing sound as they brush together in the breeze. Cleveland sage is another one of my favorite smelling plants, and it's an incredible bloomer. This plant requires very little water, but produces huge stands of purple flowers each year. There are several cultivars. One of my favorites is Winifred Gilman, which you can see here on Calscape. Brittlebush is actually more of a desert plant, but it can be a great drought-tolerant addition to a native garden. With silvery foliage similar to white sage and cheerful, yellow daisy-like flowers, this plant attracts a wide range of pollinators. Epilobium canum, also called California fuchsia, is a wonderful plant with bright tubular flowers. If you want hummingbirds in your garden, this one is a must. It blooms later than many California native plants, bringing color to the garden through late summer and fall. Coyote brush is an extremely tough native plant with a long list of benefits. It's drought-tolerant, fire-resistant, helps control erosion, and provides habitat for many native animals. I've heard people complain about this plant before, and I honestly don't understand why. I've seen it stay green all summer long with almost no water. Ceanothus is one of our most beautiful native flowers. Also known as mountain lilac, these bright blue blooms have a wonderful fragrance. Just be careful. There are hundreds of different Ceanothus species and cultivars. Some stay just a few inches tall, while others can grow over 20 feet. Choose the right one for your space, and remember that many Ceanothus actually suffer if they receive too much water during the summer. California buckwheat is another beautiful drought-tolerant plant. Like Ceanothus, there are many different forms and sizes. Students often ask me when they should deadhead the flowers, and my answer is usually never. These white blooms slowly fade into shades of tan and brown that add seasonal interest, and the seeds become food for birds. Artemisia californica is another wonderfully fragrant plant. I like planting this one near windows so I can smell it during rainstorms. That's when the scent really comes alive. This shrub is the namesake and one of the signature plants of the coastal sage scrub community. And here you can see a spittlebug on this plant. They sometimes show up on plants like this, or even rosemary. When you see them, just leave them alone. They won't hurt the plant and will disappear soon on their own.
One of my favorite things about California native plants is the cacophony of scents that intermingle into something that I find both comforting and nostalgic. What are your favorite plant scents? Leave a comment below. Thanks for watching. Feel free to check out these other videos, and I'll see you next time.